Good morning, children. So, we are going to start with the third chapter of Vistas Journey to the End of the Earth. Children, this chapter is very important for the final exam. If we just see from the board point of view, it's very important chapter. Normally, 6 marks question comes from this chapter. Okay, so read it very carefully. Before watching this video, just go through the video which I have given you or shared with you on the WhatsApp group about Gondwana. So it will be very clear to you that about what we are going to read. Okay. So before starting it, let me give you a short description or introduction that what we are going to read in this chapter. Today we are much worried about the worst condition of our ecology and environment. It is believed that man is responsible for global warming, which is causing climatic changes. It's very obvious, we all know very well that how responsible we all are. We hear that ice caps are melting and glaciers are receding, but we seldom realize the real impact of the rise in temperature. A visit to the Antarctica makes it visibly clear. There, one can see ice selves collapsing. So, what he says that in this chapter, we all know that due to our due to man greed, how we have just exploited the environment, how we had destroyed the nature, and what are the consequences of it, like global warming and climatic change and all this thing. The ice caps are melting and the glaciers are receding. So this we all know very well. So but we are not able to see this. So what the author is saying, that a visit to the Antarctica makes it very much clear. Students on Ice is a program headed by Canadian Geoff Green. So there is a program Students on Ice, okay, and the head of this program is a Canadian and his name is Geoff Green. Its aim is to provide young students an opportunity to see and understand the impact of global warming. So the main aim of Geoff Green is to take the students to Antarctica and let them observe, let them see that what is the global warming by sitting in a four walls, by watching on the television. It's not easy to understand. Let them experience, because children are the future policy makers. So he want the children, the young children, to see all this thing. If we understand this, they will act to prevent the catastrophe that awaits our planet. So according to him, that if they will see, they will understand, they will feel, and if they will feel, they will definitely, they are the future, they are the policymakers, they will do something, okay, to save our earth. So this is just the introduction of the chapter Journey to the End of the Earth. So let's start with it. Before you read, if you want to know more about the planet's past, present, and future, the Antarctica is the place to go on. Bon voyage. Bon voyage means all the best, good luck. Okay, this is a French word which means good wishes. When someone just set off is or about to just set off on a journey, we say bon voyage. If you really wanted to know about our planet's past, present, and future, one must visit Antarctica. Okay, this is what the author wants to say. Early this year, I found myself aboard a Russian research vessel. Vessel is a ship, SHIP. The academic Kolaski, heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world, Antarctica. So he says that Early this year, he found the author found himself that he was in a ship named the Academic Kolaski, okay, and the ship was just moving towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world, and that is Antarctica. My journey began 13.9 degrees north of the equator in Madras and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and at least as many ecosphere. So he says that basically he is a Indian and he has just started his journey from the equator, from the Madras. Okay, so he has passed the 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, and 3 bodies. 3 bodies maybe water, lake, ocean, like this. Okay, and many ecosphere. By the time I actually set foot on the Antarctic continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours in combination of a car, an aeroplane, and the ship. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expansive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief, followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. So he says that he has to travel 100 hours in combination of sometimes by car, an aeroplane, or a ship, okay. And when he just first time when he saw Antarctica, okay, and Antarctica is known as the uninterrupted because no one lives there. We don't find animals. It's very cold place. We all know very well. So he says that when he reached there, at that time, one thing he had a very deep wonder. Okay, he had a deep relief. He was surprised to see himself on that land. Wonder at its immensity. Immensity means vastness, hugeness. Its isolation, loneliness. No one lives there. But mainly at how there would ever have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. He says that he was just wonders to see its vastness, its isolation, but then he thought that how it would be, how the world would look when India and Antarctica was a part of the same landmass. I think this much is clear to you. Let me explain you once again. The author visited Antarctica on a Russian research ship called Academic Skolasky. He started from Chennai. They had to cross 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, and 3 ecospheres. The whole journey took him 100 hours. When he landed on the Antarctica, he was spellbound by its vastness, isolation, and uninterrupted horizon. He wondered how there could have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass, that is Gondwana. This, I think you might have seen that video which I have shared you. So the part of history is the same explanation which you have watched the video which I have sent you earlier. Is the same one. Part of history. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent Gondwana did indeed exist, centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. So he says that around 650 million years ago, a very giant amalgamated means together, okay, or merge. All the supercontinent was merged together, and they were just known as Gondwana. Okay, around things were quite different then. At that time, the things were quite different. Humans hadn't arrived on the global scene, means human beings were not existed on the earth. The climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. Host, hosting means sheltering, means there was nothing on the earth, only just flora and fauna was there, only vegetation, plants, and all these things were there. For 500 million years, Gondwana thrived. Thrive means prospered. It existed. How many years? 500 million years. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of mammals got underway, the landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe much as we know it today. So he says that it was the age when the dinosaurs were just becoming, they were just existing, okay, sorry, extinct. They were wiped out means extinct. They were just wiped out. They were just vanishing from the planet, and the mammals were just started. They have just started coming on the planet. At that time, the land mass was just forced to separate slowly and gradually, okay, and it took the shape of the globe which we see today. To visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history. He says that if one just visit to Antarctica means we are just visiting that history. To get a grasp of where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. So that just grasp means understanding. That just makes us understand that from where we have come and now where we are just heading, what is our future. It's to understand the significance means importance of Cor- Cordilleran folds and Precambrian great shields. So these are the just layers of rocks. He says that we can go and we can just understand these things there: ozone and carbon, evaluation and extinction. When you think about all that can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind boggling. Imagine India pushing northwards. So he says it's very difficult. Mind boggling means here difficult to imagine. So he says that it's very difficult for us to understand that it was the age or it was a time that when India was just pushing northwards, jamming against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalaya. So he says that the India was just pushing north and it just crushed it, and that's why Himalayas had just formed. South America drifting off to join North America. So it was just going away. South America was just going away to join North America, opening up the Drake's Passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica frigid, desolate, and at the bottom of the. So it says that the same thing what we have watched the video, okay, that how slowly and gradually the earth first was a Gondwana, all the countries were merged, okay, slowly and gradually, millions and millions years later, what happened? It because of the tectonic this force, okay, we are just separated and we just see the world and how the Himalayas has formed. For a sun worshipping South Indian like myself, 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes were stored is a chilling prospect, not just for circulatory or metabolic functions but also for the imagination. He says that it is very difficult for him to live in that very frigid place. Why? Because he is the sun worshipping one. Sun worshipping means he lives in the South India, okay, and there it's very heat. So he says that it's very difficult for him to spend 2 weeks in a place where he can, it's really very chill, it's really very much frigid. Okay, it's like walking into a giant ping pong ball. Ping pong ball means a tennis ball. Okay, so what he says that to walk on Antarctica means it's totally only ice is there. So to walk on it is just like the one is walking on the table tennis ball. Devoid of any human markers, no trees, billboards, buildings. You lose all earthly sense of perspective and time here. The visual scale range from the microscopic to mighty. So he says that if one just reach to Antarctica, one just lose the connection from the other world. Means there is no tree, no notice board, no building, no animal, no bird, nothing was there. You just lose all your earthly sense of perspective. Perspective means thinking and time there. The visual scale ranges from the microscopic to mighty. Measures and mites to blue whales and icebergs as big as country. It says that it's nothing there, only you can see icebergs which are as large as countries. Days goes on and on in surreal. Surreal means very strange. 24 hours. Austral summer light, southern summer light, and ubiquitous silence. Ubiquitous means present everywhere. So there was completely silence everywhere, interrupted only by the occasional avalanche or calfing ice sheet. He says that it was totally silence there only when a large mass of ice that falls from the mountain. Okay, at that time only one can hear some noise. Consecrates the place. It says that has just purifies the place. It's an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the earth's geographical history. He says that to be completely involved there, okay, just help you to know the earth's geographical history there. For humans, the prognosis isn't it good. So he says that for humans the judgment about future is not good. Just he says that if we just go there and if we just see that, and if we understand and if we just see the history, we'll come to know that our future is not safe. Once again I am repeating beta what we have done. Okay, before starting from human impact, let me revise from here part of history. Okay, so about 650 million years ago, Gondwana was a supercontinent. It was warm and many species of flora and fauna prospered there, but there were no humans then. We didn't find any humans. Okay, but around the time when dinosaurs were wiped out, Gondwana began to break up. India pushed against Asia and buckled its crust to form the Himalayas. South America drifted to join North America, opening up the Drake Passage. It created a cold current that went round the South Pole. It left the Antarctica cold and isolated. So gradually Antarctica comes down and it has remained very isolated and very cold place. The Antarctica is now a part of that history. It helps us to understand where we came from and where we are going. It helps us to understand the significance of Cordilleran folds and pre-Cambrian granite shields. It helps us to understand about evolution and extinction. Antarctica has remained unspoiled by humans. Its ice cores hold half a million year old carbon record. Okay, so he says that human being is not successful in reaching to Antarctica. We have not disturbed it. So still its ice cores hold old carbon record. It can help us to examine Earth's past, present and future. Antarctica is a huge expanse of ice. We all know it's only ice over there. It is all barren. There are no human markers. There are no trees, buildings or billboards. There are huge icebergs only. There are blue whales. We can see only the blue whales. But there are very tiny things too. There are no mornings, noons, evenings and nights. It is a 24-hour day. There is silence everywhere, so you lose all earthly sense of time and space there.